For joining me today on Life in DNA with Amanda Renee. I'm Amanda, and if you don't mind, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you want to see more videos, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Let's get started. So today, I've been really busy this week. We're going to a concert this weekend, and I'm trying to get everything ready for that. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare for anything. I have gotten started slowly implementing Trim Healthy Mama back into the way I eat. For breakfast, all but one morning this week. There was one morning where I just didn't have time. But every other morning this week, I have had either Pearl's nested oatmeal recipe or her sweatpants oatmeal recipe for breakfast. And while we're gone, I plan on just picking up the stuff to keep making that for breakfast. The kids are loving that I get up and make homemade oatmeal for them. So I'll do that for everybody when we go on our trip, and that should be a cheap, easy, and healthy way to feed us all. I'm trying to ease into lunches that are on plan. I figured at least little steps in the healthy direction are better than nothing. And so I bought some ciabatta rolls, and even though bread is not on plan, it's very airy bread, so there's not a whole lot there, I guess. Lots of veggies. I bought like a spring salad mix. I did have avocado, except for yesterday I ran out. All the ones at Walmart were too green that none of them were going to be ripe by the time that I left anyway. Cucumber, and I made a green goddess dressing homemade, and it's really good, except that I used some old dill that I had in the cupboard, and I didn't smell it first. I should have smelled it first because it just tastes old, and so that wasn't great. But I used fresh cilantro in it, so it's not too bad. Then I squirt a little lemon juice on the avocado when I have it, and put salt on the cucumbers. And then I had whatever turkey lunch meat my husband was using for his lunches. And so that's what my lunch was most of this week. I'll buy some more. I'm going to try to make it healthier and a little more on plan, either the Joseph's pita bread or low carb tortillas to wrap it in and make it more on plan and healthier. But I wanted to kind of ease my way away from the nachos and into something healthier. And dinners, with the way groceries, like, oh my gosh, I get depressed every time I go grocery shopping. I hate it. Oh my gosh, I hate it. Especially because I'm the one that's been buying groceries for our family, for 16 years almost. And so I know what things used to cost, and I know what they cost now. And it's annoying, to say the least, and sometimes just out and out depressing. So, and since we were going to be gone, I tried to stay on the quick, cheap, and easy route this week. And hopefully next week I can have a little more time to go through some of the other Trim Healthy cookbooks, and because there are some meal ideas I wanted to try. They have like what was it? Kind of like egg roll in the bowl or fried rice, but in a healthy version. And I wanted to try some of those. They have one called a cheeseburger pie, and everyone says that that's really good. Probably make the cowboy grub again sometime soon. So I'm trying to ease into that. Snacks, the Greek yogurt with the berries is good at night. But I'm still having like popcorn. I'll get off of it eventually. But I am making small steps that way. So I was proud of myself on that. Just the other thing I was going to talk about, I watched, so if any of you have heard any of my podcasts on the family mystery that I worked on solving, I still continue to kind of tweak and work that. There's some details that I still would like to find out. So, when I have time and have the feeling that I want to work on it, I'll, pull up Ancestry and start digging, see if there's any new matches. Because a lot of times, right now, all the people that got kits from Christmas, if they sent them in right after Christmas, they will have their results by now. So I go on there and look at that. But I also watch the show Finding Your Roots for inspiration, and sometimes it just stirs up that curiosity and desire to go and study some more. And so I was watching the latest episode today at lunch, and it was a special that they did. They took, normally it's celebrities, and this time they took just regular people, 3 regular people that had mysteries to solve, and they helped them. And then they didn't go into a lot of details on how, but they had little pieces of information. And they said they had 9,000 applicants for this episode when they announced about it. And they dwindled it down to 3. And one of the ladies, the mother had abandoned her grandfather or great grandfather, I can't remember which one, and she just was curious as to know why. They always wondered, why did she abandon him? And one of their hints was a census record, and you can glean a lot of information from those. And I tend to forget. I kind of read the highlights, and I tend to forget exactly how much information is in there. But it turns out they were from, I think, Alabama. The mother of the baby that got abandoned was a white woman. The father was a black man. They believed that it was a consensual thing. There wasn't anything to suggest that it wasn't. But the man had been married, and so she was going to have to raise this baby. And it's in the South, and you're talking like, I can't remember if it was early 1900s, late 1800s. It was pretty far back there. So it was still illegal to have relationships like that, and probably frowned upon in society, I would imagine. And so then when she shows up in the next census record, she's married to a white man. She lists her children. But in this particular census, there was a box where you put how many children you had, and then, how many living. She only listed the 2 children. She did not count the baby she abandoned. And that got me thinking, because my husband's great-grandfather, the mystery that I solved was the great-grandfather was abandoned on a train as a newborn, like 5 days old. The doctors think that he was 5 days old. And I have traced back through DNA matches and following all of those kinds of hints, I figured out who his parents were. So I thought, well, I will go back and look and see if there's any kind of question like that on the census records that his mother is on. And I found something interesting, and I ran out of time. I needed to come and film, so I didn't get to dig a whole lot, but I am excited to do more digging. because I found a census record for when she was married. The husband that she had through most of her adult life. And on that particular census, it asked your age at your first marriage. And she put 20. But she didn't get married to this man until 1910. And she would have been early 30s. So I'm trying to find, I have never found a record for any other marriages with her that I know of. So that's what I'm going to be digging on. One, because that could mean that Walter was born legitimate. If the father that I'd found of his was married to his mom, because she would have been, when she was 20, it would have been around 1901. And she had Walter, I think 1905 or 1906. And she didn't marry this other man until 1910. So in 1901, if I can find a marriage, I'm still not 100% convinced that it would have even, the marriage she was referring to would have even been to Walter's father, because a year before Walter was born, she had been engaged to another man who ended up, he gave her some jewelry and things like that, and they had actually gone to court over the jewelry, and he had snuck off and married someone else during all of this. So she wasn't married at that time, and that was right before, or at least she didn't act married. So either she lied about her age on the one census, or she had a marriage that I have not found yet in 1901. So that is what I'm digging into at the moment. Also, she was listed as single in 1910 because the census was taken in May, and I think her marriage was in around October or something to the other man. So it had, she was an operator of some company, and it's really hard to read the writing on it. So I'm digging in to see if I can find what company she worked at in 1910, where that was, because I know at other times in other censuses she worked for an optometrist or something like that. She worked in an optometrist's office somewhere, and I think her husband that she ended up marrying in 1910 worked there also. So it's just funny how the shows like that can give you hints and things to try and look for in your own mystery. So I'm excited to go in and try to find, I keep trying, I've gone through the ancestry way of looking for marriage records, and I haven't found anything yet, but she's kind of an interesting lady. There is a picture of her daughter that looks really fancy, and so I'm wondering if they had some money. But just with the whole getting engaged to a man, that man that gave her the jewelry, he was actually still married to someone off in another state when he was dating her, and she didn't know it at first. He gave her a false name and didn't tell her that, but she did find out about it later, and I don't know that she cut it off because he went off to, I think, Utah, and she was supposed to meet up with him and get married there. And then before she made it over there, he had already married someone else. So she at least dated interesting people. The man that she ended up getting pregnant by with Walter seems to have been kind of interesting that way too. I had been in contact with one of his great granddaughters. Haven't been able to get her to answer me lately. But I'm trying to find information on these two people, especially since I'm going to write to Walter's daughters that are still alive and give them the information I've found. I wish that I had pictures to show them. I keep trying to write to some of the family members to see if they would be willing to give them to me, but nobody has answered me yet, which is exasperating. But I think my next step might be to find some of them on Facebook and message, because I know a lot of people, some people just get the Ancestry DNA kit just for fun to see like their ethnicity and things like that, and then they don't ever look at it again. Like they're just not interested in it, and they'll go years at a time without checking it, so they may not have even seen that I messaged them. So I might reach out to someone on Facebook, and then they can see I'm a legitimate person. I'm not, just some random troll on the internet. That I'm actually a real person, and I'm really trying to figure this information out. And so hopefully they can give me some answers and some pictures and kind of an idea of who these people were, because I would like to know, and I'd like to be able to pass that on to the rest of the family. So yeah, that was really all I wanted to come on and talk about today. I'm going to try and do some more digging if I get the chance over the weekend, or if not, then possibly next week, and then I'll talk about that and tell you what I find. I am hoping I can get some answers between now and then. There's also a cluster of DNA matches that I can't place yet, and because the tree for Walter's real father, I can't get that to go much past his grandfather, and so I'm curious to know if there's a mystery there in that side too. And I don't know, with it being that far away, if I'll be able to completely solve that, but it would be really interesting. His census records, he always lists his father as born at sea, and then his mother was like born in Ohio or something like that. So I can only find census records for him up to a certain point, and I guess I need to try and find somebody with that surname that was born at sea and see if I can find it that way, because he just kind of springs up out of nowhere in the late 1800s. And so either he just stayed away from putting down records, or he changed his name, which I think is highly possible. And so I'm wondering if some of those DNA matches can find me a link there somehow. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment, and when I find any more out, I will let y'all know. Next week I'll probably come on and talk about the concert. We're gonna go see Starset. We've seen them once before when they were the opening band for Shinedown and Five Finger Death Punch, like 7 years ago, and we didn't know who they were then. We love their music now, and so we're gonna get to go see them at a little place in Tulsa, And I'm excited because it's the first concert I've gotten to go to since like 2019. And I love concerts. So it'll just be my husband and I. The kids are going glamping with my husband's parents. And so they'll get to go fishing and hiking and do all that fun stuff. And we'll get to go have a date night down in Tulsa, or up in Tulsa. So that should be fun. So I will let y'all know how that goes. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button so that you can see more videos in the future. And I will see you next week. Bye.